Until recently, I used to think that it was only the rich who could invest on the stock market. Until 3 years back, when I went on a journey of exploring how I could trade on the stock markets, then I realized that it is this easy. You don't have to think about the fact that you don't have a lot of money, and because of that, you cannot invest on the stock market. Listen, you can invest on the stock market trading with just $100. And now with fractional shares, we have some of the brokers that offer fractional shares of blue chip companies like Google, Apple, Microsoft. Talk about the big tech companies that you have in the US. They have fractional shares that you can buy a share of like $10, $5. Right. So let's cultivate the habit of knowing that everybody can stand the chance of multiplying their money investing on the stock markets. Okay, you are not left alone to be in that wonderland. I was once there, where I could only read books of how, people invest on the stock market. They invest in stocks, dividend stocks, bonds, blah, blah, blah. But I thought of it to be very far away from me because I thought I didn't have what it takes. But with the stock market at our disposal now, we can invest our monies, no matter how little it is, and start growing it from there. Don't be left out. I'll be right back. Right, so you are welcome back. Okay, so as you know, on this channel, all that we look at is to use the stock market as our advantage, and then look at how we can take advantage of trading various items where we can put monies together and then put them into an investment vehicle where we can retire rich and retire young. Right. So as I have mentioned, most of the time, if you don't take time, you will think that it is only the rich who can invest into the stock market. And then, mind you, wherever there is an opportunity, the rich makes an attempt to explore and to see how to take advantage of such an opportunity to maximize their potential of making more profits. Right, but most of the time, some people who think that they don't have enough money, I don't want to say that they're poor, but they are a category of people where we think we don't have enough money to venture into the things that the rich has, and so we close our doors. So in this video, I want to explore and bring to light the fact that it's not only the rich who can invest on the stock market. Whether you have little money or you have just something small that you think it is not enough, it is still enough to trade on the stock market. And so if you are new to the channel, I want to ask you to subscribe to the channel, because here we look at not only even trading on the stock market, but we look at trading other on other platforms that we can gather monies, talk about certain online, stores, or trading crypto, or trading other assets, or forex, so that we can bring all these monies together and put them into a vehicle that will earn us passive income towards our retiring good and retiring young. So you would like to hit the subscribe button. And for the well builders who have always returned to watch subsequent videos, I am very grateful. Right, let's dive into the video now. Okay, so one of the things that I would like us to really put right before we embark on our investment journey is to debunk our minds of the fact that we are not able to invest. Okay? Let's take that idea out of our mind that we are not able to invest. We don't have what it takes to invest. I want to let you understand one thing, that if we are able to build the mindset of the rich, then we can also tread the path of the rich. But if we keep our minds, as we have had them, that we are not able to invest, we don't have what it takes to invest, we don't have the knowledge of what it takes to invest, then we will not make any effort to even explore the opportunities that are available on the stock market and on other platforms that we can equally use to maximize our potentials of being good investors. Right. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking us through some assets that the rich invest in, where we take ourselves out as people that we feel we do not have enough money to invest in, and then let's see whether there is a possibility that we could also behave like the rich and invest in what they invest in. And one of the assets that the rich invest in on the stock market are ETFs. Right. So with ETFs, I want to take you direct into the S&P 500, and let's look at if you had invested in even the S&P 500 for 1 year, buying the fund, how much would you have spent? How much would you have returned by this time that we are recording this video? Okay, so we are right here. I'm looking at, taking you through S&P 500. That is the US best 500 companies that they have put all together in a fund that you can go and then invest in. And this particular ETF goes up every year. Okay, so there are people who, like I've always said, those people who have a tight schedule that you say you don't want to invest, you don't have time to trade actively on the stock market, and so it makes you feel you won't be able to take advantage of the stock market. This particular ETF is something that you can invest in. This is an ETF the rich invest in, and we can equally take advantage of it. So we are looking at the ETF, that's S&P 500, as you can see here. SPDR S&P 500 ETF Trust, and we call it the SPY, usually known as the SPY. Okay, so I'm taking you back to January. We are not looking at we are not going back. We are just looking at this year. That is 2004. So look at here. We are going back all the way to January. Okay, so let's look at here. This is January 2nd. Let's look at January 2nd. Okay, that was the start of the year. How much was the S&P 500, the ETF? Okay, so that was $472.16. Okay. This is what I'm saying. So if the rich invest in the ETF in S&P 500, and then as soon as you hear S&P 500, the 500 best companies in the US, then quickly you take yourself out of that equation. Now you can also invest just like the rich does by bringing in $472, and then you buy this ETF. So let's say that in January you decided to buy this ETF, and then you sacrifice that 472 to buy on the 2nd. This is the 2nd of January 2024. Okay, which you spend 472.16. Okay, let's go back to December and see how much that has returned. Okay, we are not even in December yet, but let's see. Today is what is today's date? Today's date is November, what is it? November 7th or 8th? Let me check. Okay, so today is November 8th. Let's look at November 8th, what the ETF is reading. Okay, so by this data, we only have November 7th. It's not, and I can imagine where I am recording this video from. Is this I'm recording this video from Ghana, and in the US people are still sleeping. So I'm sure it will be updated later on in the day. But let's look at yesterday. That is 7th of November. Now 7th of November, the SPY, that's S&P 500, has returned how much? Now it is 593. But if I take you back to after yesterday, the market closed with the S&P being 595.61. Today it has added, pre-market has added points, almost $1. So we are reading 596, as you can see it here, 596.57. Look at that. So let's come back to looking at, okay, so this is it. So let's see how much we have made so far. Okay, so if we look at, let me calculate and let's see. This is, where's my calculator? Okay, so we invested 472.16. Now, S&P 500 is now reading 596.61. And so by this month, 7th of November, we have not ended the year yet, and we can imagine this may go on, this may increase even before we enter into the new year. So now, if we had invested this, we have made $124.45, okay? Then we are going to add that to our 472.16 and see how much we would have made by now. So our money has returned this much, and let's say 124.45 divided by 472.16, the S&P 500 has returned 26%. 26%. 26%. So you see what I am talking about. It is not only the rich who can invest on the, see, this is only on the ETF that we are looking at, and we are only looking at S&P 500. And we are looking at if we had bought just one. Okay, we haven't bought like 2, 3, or 100 of the S&P 500. We have just bought one. And I'm using one because, you know, we know that most of the time, and certain statistics have proven that if we are in a distress, and then most people, you are looking for $500 or $1,000 emergency fund from them, they may not be able to get. Okay, unless you sell something or you go and borrow it. So I'm just looking that, I'm taking that statistics to analyze how we can still take advantage even if we do not have $1,000. Now, by investing 472, we would have been reading almost, 600? Yeah, almost 600. Investing on the stock market. Just buying one ETF. You understand? So the rich, this is what the rich does. Just imagine if we are going to still invest this, our money, that is 596, that is almost 597, still on the on the S&P 500. Let's say we have not increased it, and then we leave that money there, and then next year, as it increases every year, let's say that we return, it doesn't even increase but maintain the same return, then it means that we are looking at another return of 26%, and that would have been $155.22 plus our 597, right? That money has gotten to 752.22. So you see how the rich gets richer every day. And the poor gets poorer, or the middle class remains there, because we are not taking advantage of what the opportunity that lies, in front of both the rich and then the middle class and the poor. We are not taking advantage of it, but the rich sees the opportunity and jumps in. Right. So this is one asset that, let's say you have $2,000 and you have put in. How much would you have made by now? A lot of money. A lot of money. And then compound interest will keep multiplying this money, and by the time you know it, you have a lot of money. Now I'm taking you through another asset that the rich invest in that we can take advantage of. Okay, now let's look at the second assets that the rich invest in that the poor or middle class do not look at. And I'm talking about blue chip companies. Now with blue chip company, I'm talking about the big companies that we have on the stock market, on the US, on S&P 500. And then number one of such stocks is Apple. Okay, so I am taking you through Apple. How much was Apple price? Okay, in January 2024. The closing price for Apple in January 2024 was $183.7. Okay, $183.7. And these are the statistics from January 2nd all the way to January 31st. That's so by 31st of January it was 186, but we are looking at the statistic here, that is 183. Now let's check how much Apple is as of today. So Apple is, as of today, Apple is reading 227.74. So 227.74 minus 183, that gives us $44.74. So you see, these are individual stocks. Apart from buying the ETF that we calculated first, all these companies are inside. Apple is inside. So you are making that percentage, that 26%, you are making that on your ETF, and then you have come to also buy, let's say you had $1,000, and then you bought, you put that $1,000 into 183 point, whatever it is, let me just use this. You would have gotten 5 stocks of Apple. Now the 5 stocks have become return 44.74. So 44.74 times 5. This, the $1,000 you would have returned 223.7 divided by 1,000. Even though I didn't use all the 1,000, that would have returned 22%. You get it? So this is the way the investor looks at it. The investor looks at the opportunity of maximizing profit using gains here and there. So we've looked at the investor or the rich investing in ETF, and we have used, for ETF, we only use S&P 500 to get our example. And then with blue chip stocks, we've used Apple. Let's go ahead and see what else the rich invest in. Okay, so the third asset that the rich invest in is that is dividend stocks. And let me pull out a stock so that we'll see Coca-Cola. So let me just pull out Coca-Cola, because I think it is a top. This thing, the last time I looked at Coca-Cola, it was 58. Now it's at 63. Now look at Coca-Cola. Okay, Coca-Cola is $63 now. And so let's say that you have $1,000 and then you bought Coca-Cola. Let me find out how much Coca-Cola was in January so that we can look at it properly. Coca-Cola, okay. Coca, how do you even spell that? Coca, oh, come on. Coca-Cola. Okay, Coca-Cola in January. Let's see what they bring up. Okay, so this is Coca-Cola. In January it was what? November 20. No, I'm looking for January. How much was Coca-Cola in January 2024? And look at what it's giving me. Coca-Cola price in January. Okay, I think we can find that here. This is Coca-Cola. January 2nd was 57.49. Now we have 63. Okay, let me go back to trading view. Let's see, 63.66. Let's see how much that has brought up. 63.66 minus 57.49. We have $6.17. Right. So let's say you had your $1,000 and you purchased this 57.49. You would have had 17 stocks of Coca-Cola. Let me just be very sure how much that comes to. So that is $977. It's not up to the 1,000 for 17. Okay, so you got 17. Now your 17 has returned how much? 63.66. Okay, minus 977. So that alone, if you had purchased 17 stocks with your $1,000, you would have gotten $105.22. Okay, $105.22. Now let's just take it that you had a dividend of 0.2. Okay, so 0.2, that is 0.2 cents. So 17 times 0.2, then you'd have had $3.4, making it $268,108.62. This calculation is just by buying using either $500 or $1,000 to make these kind of investments. Okay, so if you look at it and then you are growing your money like this. So what if we start looking at when we started with the ETF, the S&P 500, all the way to Apple, all the way to Coca-Cola being a dividend stock, you can imagine we are running to like almost 500 income. And these 500 incomes are passive. So far, they are passive because we haven't done anything. We just bought the stocks, we left it there. Bought ETF, we left it there. And now, this particular one too, that is a dividend stock, is now giving us dividend plus our income we have made on the appreciation of the share. That is so far what we have done without us getting 100% involved in managing anything on the stock markets. You get it? So this is the way that the rich invest, right? So the fourth aspect and asset that the rich invest in, they look at sectors that have a high growth rate. You are talking about tech. You are talking about artificial intelligence. Now, when you're looking at tech, you can look at sectors like you can look at assets like Google. You can look at let me see AI. So AI, you could be looking at assets that has to do, or businesses that has to do with artificial intelligence, where the growth rate is always huge. You get it? And as you know it, AI has become, in fact, AI and technology, they go one in one, hand in hand. And then they have become like the big thing in our age today, in our world today, where you put your money inside and then you are likely to reap a higher percentage on your investment. This is what the rich does. Right. The last, because I'm giving you just 5. I'm giving you just 5. The last asset or area that the rich invest in on the stock market. Remember, all that we are discussing, these are, assets and areas that we are just using the stock market to look at how we can put that money there and watch it grow. And the fifth thing that the rich and the investor invest in is real estate, ETFs or trusts, real estate funds that you can put your money in, just like we did for the S&P 500, and then they will return some good percentage for your money every year. Now, we sit down and we think about the fact that, okay, we don't even have what it takes to invest, just because we think that we need a lot of money to do that. But as I have done in this video, you can see that we have not started with a lot of money. In fact, we didn't start with $2,000 even. We started with $472. Then we went to look at how we can put in $1,000. Then we went to look at how we can invest into blue chip companies and how we can get dividends from the dividend stocks that we have invested $1,000 inside. Just begin with small amount of money, then you will watch your money grow on the stock market. So I think that I have been successful in debunking whatever idea you have kept in your mind that, oh, it is only the rich who can invest on the stock market. Look, these are not the only areas on the stock market that you can invest in. We have people like myself where you can take advantage of all these 5 assets that I have discussed that the rich and the investor invest in. And then you want to invest into trading actively. And if I come to talk about trading actively too, that one you can make money, equally make money every week trading actively. But I have made this video because I've limited this video to just investing and making passive income where you go to sleep and let your money work for you. What we want to do to copy what the rich does. Like the only involvement that you do here is that you go click and buy, or you create your account with a broker and all you do is deposit your money, and then once a while you go and click and buy, you go and click and buy, and then you go and click and sell. But if you are investing into long term, like I have discussed it here, investing in S&P 500 blue chip stocks and then dividend stocks and all that, then it means that these are long term investments that you really hardly have to come and then do anything about. You just watch your money grow. Okay, so if it is somebody like me that I can add active trading, that I will trade my favorite stock options, then it means that every week you could be making money where you can think about making $100 every day trading options. My baby. Trade options and make $100 a day, and then begin to invest that one onto these 5 assets that I have listed that the rich and the investor invest in, and you are on your way to making your $1,000,000 in dollars. And then you can retire rich and retire young. Because by the time you get that $1,000,000, you will start multiplying it quickly to gather the millions that you need to gather for your retirement. Remember, we want to retire rich, and not retire rich and old, but retire rich and young. You want to subscribe to the channel because the tips and tricks will be out where we can look at arenas and then platforms in addition to the stock market that we can use to maximize our potential of earning incomes where we employ on the stock market that will propel our retiring rich and retiring young.
Start with nothing, start today. Learn to hustle, find a way. Brick by brick you build it right, from the morning through the night. Dreams are growing step by step, every fall a future pep. No experience, just a heart, that's the way you got to start.